You can lose your job. These are institutions well within their right. It is a case of private companies. David, I'll let you talk about that. I mean, some people think it's freedom of speech, but there are consequences when you say certain things. And clearly we're finding that out with a lot of these sickos.
Yeah, you're right, Bianca. Look, it's really a misnomer when it comes to the freedom of speech. A lot of it applies to the government. So, like, the government can't arrest you for saying something that, they just don't agree with you with. However, private companies, they're in a totally different ballgame. So if you say something in a company, they can potentially fire you for that because it could affect their workplace, it could affect their profitability, it could affect a lot of things. You don't have the protections as you would for a government. So, and like Judge Napolitano said, every state is different. It's a case-by-case thing. New Jersey, much more liberal, obviously, when it comes to their laws than it is like Texas. So every state is a little different.
Right. It's just a doctor, a doctor saying something like that allegedly. I mean, would you not treat somebody if they were coming into your emergency room? You question sort of their ideology and that evil and hate. I mean, an airline pilot saying certain things. American Airlines had a case. I mean, you want someone flying a plane with all these people and maybe you walk in and you have a MAGA hat. I mean, it's just the whole thing is upside down. All right, let's talk about tomorrow. It's going to be obviously the day when we first see Tyler Robinson, the alleged killer. But we did learn, Kash Patel saying, Christina, there's DNA at the scene that matches him. He's not cooperating. But this transgender roommate, a man transitioning now, is talking, which I think is really important that he hasn't, lawyered up yet. But there's also reports that there was a text exchange with another individual where he claimed that possibly he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk. He was going to do it, according to some of these reports, because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. So another key piece of evidence. Not sure if we'll hear that tomorrow in the first initial court appearance. Walk us through what it will look like in Utah.
Right. We're not going to get probably anything from the defendant himself. The attorney will represent the defendant there. I've been through my own arraignment. I've been through this process, and it really is making sure that the defendant understands the charges against him. We'll see that come out where the judge can either read those charges to the defendant to ensure that he understands his rights and what he's being accused of, or he can waive that reading. And I suspect he'll waive the reading. His attorney, whoever that is, I'm sure has gone through that clearly with him, but they may have the judge go through that. And then the judge will set whatever restrictions there are or whatever conditions there are for him. I suspect that he will be confined. He will be in pretrial confinement. I cannot imagine a scenario where they would actually release him pretrial. But we'll find that out tomorrow.
In fact, speaking of confinement, I'm glad you went there because we also learned, David, that he's on so-called special watch at the jail, in the Utah County Jail, monitored around the clock by officials. It seems like a pretty smart thing to do, but you wonder if the defense team will try to pull in some type of mental defense, mental illness. Not sure where they'll go, but why would you think they're putting him on special watch?
It's standard procedure when it comes to these types of things, Bianca. Look, you're talking about a very, very high-profile case, number one, high-profile defendant, and he's charged with the most serious thing you can possibly be charged with. So they have to do that. Look, they're covering their bases. I don't think there's anything wrong with what they're doing. Very smart. And look, as for the mental deficiency aspect, that is something that potentially the defense will have to, look at and evaluate. But I think we're way too early in this to even talk about something like that. There's so many things that we don't know. And even the defense, they got to get all the discovery, all the evidence. And they don't have nearly everything at this point. So to talk about a mental deficiency, I think that's, a little too premature at this particular stage.
Right.